Thank y'all for joining us today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I'm Jeff Phillips. That's my grandson Case here. And we wanted to bring you a really special video today. Hadn't done one in a couple of weeks because it's been hunting so much. and what I want to do, guys, is tell you, kind of fill you in, bring you up to speed, what's going on, and tell you what happened yesterday. Today is Saturday, January 21st, I think, whatever, 21st, whatever. Almost to the end of January. And yesterday was a really special day for me, a day that I'll never forget as long as I live. I was able to take the biggest buck of my life with a bow yesterday on public land with my recurve. Just, you know, everything come together. And you know, I've had so many guys comment and ask me questions about, you know, this, that, and the other in the last few weeks as far as setup. And also what I want to do today was deal with a little bit of setup and tell you guys, okay, real life situation. You know, I've been testing and playing with arrow setups and combinations and things for years. And I'm always trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going to work best in a real hunting situation? Not just 3D, but really hunting situation. Well, yesterday proved something to me. 1,000% of what it takes and what really does work, okay? And that was the 5th traditional kill for me this year. Thank the Lord, I was able to get my 5th one, but this one was the big buck. This is what I was after. That's what I had my heart set on since the beginning. And kind of to bring you up to that story and what it took and what happened, I wanted to share this, and I'm going to send put up some pictures. I was not able to video. Honestly, guys, I could have, but when I climbed yesterday, I put the camera arm in 4 different positions, and I was hunting right over a trail that I had scouted the day before. I went into a section of woods, canoed in and scouted that I had not hunted since 2018. And I remembered that there were always a lot of really big deer living in there during the rut. So I went and I scouted it, and sure enough, I found scrapes, rub lines everywhere. I found the sign I was looking for, okay? So yesterday morning, I go in there before daylight, I climb, I get set up, and everywhere that I mounted my camera arm looked like it was gonna be in the way for a potential shot, because I was expecting a really close shot. And it was just in the way. And this late in the season, I've hunted every minute that I could possibly get in the woods and to pull this off. And I just wasn't going to take any chances. I just wasn't. I said, it's not worth it, okay? So I packed the camera away and said, forget it. I'm hunting. And lo and behold, as I'm sitting there at 8:30, I'd already had some deer cross the creek in front of me. I heard a squirrel just a few minutes ago behind me and didn't even want to turn around and look because I assumed it was that squirrel. I turned around and looked, and there he is. There is the buck standing there, wind in my favor, and I'm in the perfect tree. He has no idea that I'm there. I pulled my grunt call out, grunted to him. He looked my direction, but I had a body of water behind me, like a creek ditch behind me, and he couldn't see a buck, so he knew, obviously, that there was no buck there, and he's too smart to just come right under my tree. So he proceeded to walk north a little over 30 yards. And as he began to go through there, which would have been so good to video because it would have been very easy to video him where he went, but I was assuming that I would have a close shot and it wasn't going to happen, so I didn't video him. Anyhow, as he passed into the opening, I just prayed, guys. I prayed. I said, Lord, help me make this shot. Help me make this shot. I mean, you don't get chances at big deer very often, especially with recurves and longbows. You just don't. But he walked into the opening. Like I said, 32 yards is what I wound up ranging it after the fact. And it's just like shooting out in the backyard. I shoot those distances all the time at targets, and it was no different. I never really thought about anything other than I said, Lord, help me make this shot. And I come to anchor. I made sure that I come into full anchor because I knew that I needed all my bow had. And I come into anchor, looked at the spot, and I mean, drilled him right in the pocket. And here's the cool thing, and this is what today's video is about. It's about the arrow setup. I'm drawing 49 pounds on this bow, 49 pounds. And I built these arrows last week, actually, for this hunt. And they shot so incredibly well, and they're not as heavy as what I've been shooting. I took my 700 grain arrows out, and I switched things up. I went with a 500 gold tip Hunter XT with 190 grain Simmons Swamp Sharks with 50 grain aluminum inserts in them. Total arrow weight was 480 grains. That's all it is. It didn't even hit the 500 mark. So it's like, well, Jeff, all you talk about is, 500 plus grain arrows. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it proved to me, with the weight that I shot with a recurve, I got a complete pass through. There's the rest of my arrow that broke off and pulled out of him laying somewhere over there. See if you can find that arrow over there. Yeah. That I actually got out, and he broke off about, probably this much of it. He broke off after it came out the offside, and these heads cut a hole, guys. And I'll put pictures up of the entry hole there. Just unbelievable hole that this thing cut, and it put him down in less than 50 yards. Double lung. After I gutted him, the heart was intact. Yeah, here's what's left. There's blood all the way over around the arrow, but that's what's left of it. And he did not make it 50 yards because I double lunged him with this massive cut head. And when I gutted him, and I don't want to tell you all the gory stuff, guys, but if you're hunters, you understand. When we gutted him at the creek, the lungs were just like goo, just complete goo. There was nothing left of them. It destroyed his lungs. So I'm so thrilled with the performance of these Simmons Sharks. Of course, I got them really, really sharp. I worked on them hard. I rubbed them down with Vaseline after I sharpened them to keep the edge and all that. But a total arrow weight of around 480 grains, that's only about 10 grains per pound that I shot, which gave me the trajectory at that 30-yard shot that I needed. The arrow virtually didn't drop, but it still had enough to completely punch through with a big wide cut head on a really big bodied buck, okay, full rut buck. So it proved to me that you don't always have to have super heavy arrows, you just have to have the FOC. You need that 250-ish grains on the front, which mine equated to exactly 240 grains on the front of these arrows. So I say, don't go below that in any means, and if you want to go heavier, that's great and that's fine, but keep in mind, don't go so heavy that you can't make a 30-yard shot on a buck of a lifetime. Don't put yourself in that situation, and I'm thankful that I didn't. So anyway, guys, it worked like a charm, and I was just gonna explain that to you because I've had so many setup questions come in lately about, okay, what total grain arrow weight do I need to run? How much do I need to run up front? What kind of broadheads do I need to use? And I killed one with a self bow with the same head 2 weeks ago. And it was a 50-pound self bow, and they don't shoot anything like this bow. I mean, they shoot great, but they just don't have the energy this thing does. But, every bow is different. And I say, if you have a slower bow, go ahead and shoot you some if you want to. If you have a slower bow, shoot a little heavier arrow. You're gonna need it, okay? If you have a relatively fast bow, you can go in that middle range. You can stay around that 500 grain range. I mean, you really can. But I wanted to bring you this, guys, to kind of help you to understand that you can yard test things every day, all day, and you can shoot different arrow combinations and targets and play with this and play with that. And until you shoot live animals with a traditional setup, it's very hard to know exactly what's going to work best. It really is, and what the boundaries are. So my honest opinion is stay at about 10 grains per pound minimum. And if you want to top out at 12 to 13 grains per pound, that's probably even better. Anything past that it's going to probably cost you in trajectory. And if you limit yourself to shots inside of, say, 18 yards, it's not going to matter. It's really not. But let's just say, if it's kind of like what happened to me and you're in that situation where even a 25-yard shot comes about, you want to be able to pull it off. And, you know, the first thing I thought when that deer come through, and I was hunting a funnel, I had found this funnel on a map, and it's where two creeks almost come together, and the width of the entire body of woods was about 35 yards. That's all there was from water to water, and it widened down on each end to way bigger than that. So I spotted that funnel, and I realized there was rub lines on each side of it and scrapes on each side of it, nothing in the middle. It's like the bucks were working the edges of both of the sides of that funnel. And I knew that if one come through there, I would have a shot. It's just which side he was going to come on. I had to gamble on that. So I played the wind safe and got on this back side, which was the east side. Lo and behold, he comes walking on the west side with the wind at his back. No care about the wind whatsoever. He was just cruising looking for does. So, you know, the deer don't always walk with the wind in their face. They do not. They're going to go where they need to go, and that's what they're going to do. Good shot, man. Look at that. He got two of them right there in the kill. Good deal. So that's why I set up where I did. But the first thought in my mind when that happened was, oh Lord, this is a compound shot. It's just going to be too far for my recurve. It's just going to be too far. It's not going to happen. And honestly, guys, I couldn't let him walk. I just couldn't let this deer walk. And I couldn't do it. And I've shot and I've shot and I've shot so much. And as I said, I just prayed, guys. I just said, Lord, help me make this shot. And he did. He did. He did. And when that deer crashed within sight of my stand, I almost cried, guys. I couldn't quit thanking him. Couldn't quit thanking him. There's just no way that I could. It's awesome. It's totally awesome. And you have to understand, where I live in Alabama, it's not like when I used to hunt Illinois, any of the Midwestern states where you get opportunities at, really mature deer regular during the rut. It's just not the same here. In Alabama, especially North Alabama, they're few and far between. There are plenty of them here, but they're incredibly smart animals, and they're all about survival. They just don't take chances. They don't tolerate anything. So that's why I took up this challenge to stay home with traditional gear and grind it out on public land that anybody can go hunt and try to put one down. That was my goal for this year. And I just thank the good Lord in heaven that he allowed it to happen. And I know people say, that he has nothing to do with it and all that. Well, I don't believe that. I believe if you ask, it's given to you. It may be a while, it may not happen right then, but if you keep asking, the Lord knows the desires of your heart, and he knew mine, and I put him first. But I also got up and hunted before work, every minute that I could. And you do have to put yourself in a position for it to happen. You do have to scout. You got to read the sign, and you got to put yourself in the most likely place that you can to get a shot. But at the same time, I honestly believe, because I specifically asked him as soon as I got in that tree, Lord, please send me a big deer. Please let me have an opportunity today. And when I turned around and saw him, I knew he had given me that deer. I knew it before I ever shot him. I knew it. Say what you want to, but it's the way it is, guys. That's how I believe. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I wanted to bring you this little insight on the setup, on what it took to put that deer down the way that it did. and I've used so many arrow combos I can't count them. I've got just about everything you can dream of built up, and I'm sure they'll all do it. But I found out yesterday that you don't have to go crazy with arrow weight. You just don't. You don't have to go crazy, but you got to have really sharp broadheads. You really do. That's the key. So come here, Case. Come here just a sec. So tell everybody here, we're gonna wrap this video up. This is my little arching buddy here. Tell everybody.
I cut myself.
Oh, you didn't cut yourself. So tell everybody out there. You love shooting your bow? Yes, he does. You gonna kill you a big deer when you get big? That's right. Good deal, guys. I love y'all so much. Oh, look at that. He's on. See, we're gonna start. 3D starts in February for us. We'll be going to some major shoots in February, and we're ready, man. We can't wait to meet up with all our buddies and go shoot some of these big old tournaments, man. That's what's fun. I love it. You can just relax. The pressure's off, and I was actually gonna hunt again this evening. I love to hunt so much. I was gonna go this evening, and he told me I couldn't. Told me he wasn't gonna let me go. Said I had to spend some time with him. I said, well, that's fine. Lord blessed me yesterday. I don't have to go today, but I'll probably be back next week. We've still got 2 weeks left of bow season here, and I got 1 buck tag left, so who knows? It may happen. Can't kill them if you don't go. Thank you for joining me, guys. I love y'all so much. Send me your comments, your questions. If there's anything about your particular arrow bow combination or whatnot, if you're kind of on the fence about something, send me your questions. I promise I'll get to them, and I'll answer them best I can and guide you. And I mean, I don't know it all, that's for sure. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm just a guy that tests and tries every product pretty much there is at some point in time, and the best that you can do is take it to the woods and test it on live deer. I mean, really, that's all you can do, guys. What an arrow combination does to a live animal can only be found out through trial and error. It can, and believe me, that's what I've done. And you know, I've shot some that I got barely any penetration. I've got pass-throughs on some. It depends on where you hit it, but that is the most important thing, is shot placement. Shot placement is everything. If your broadheads are razor sharp, and I don't care what kind they are, if they're razor sharp and you got a decently heavy arrow and you shoot them in the lungs, they're down. You're going to get to bring that deer home. You're not going to lose it. So you just have to be patient. You got to be patient and wait for that good shot. Wait for that good angle. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. Love you so much, and we just thank the good Lord for everything that he does and how he's blessed our family and everything, and allows us to hunt, and for blessing me with a really good deer yesterday. I'm still beside myself, guys. I am. So thank you again. God bless you.